Chosen. You must let this land in the stillness before you reach for an explanation. Your next move is being assembled tonight in a chamber you cannot see, and the only door it cannot survive passing through is the one in your face. The Father has watched something happen too many times in your life to keep watching it happen quietly. He has prepared, He has positioned, He has aligned pieces that took years to bring into formation. And then a conversation, a text, a coffee with someone whose spirit was never built to carry your weight, and the formation collapses before it can become flesh. He is not punishing you. He is fierce because you finally got close. The next move is sacred. It belongs to the part of you that was small enough once to believe in things without explaining them. That part is being called back tonight, and it cannot be called back through a loud door. Sit down. Stop reaching for confirmation that only the unfolding can give. Hold the holy silence. He will tell you when to speak, and when He does, the move will already be done. I want you to picture something with me. You are standing in the doorway of your own bedroom. It is somewhere between late night and not yet morning. That hour when the house has finally gone quiet and you are alone with yourself in a way you usually avoid. One hand is resting on the light switch. You have not flipped it yet. The other hand is holding your phone, and the screen is glowing up into your face. And on that screen, there is a half-typed message. Maybe to a friend, maybe to your sister, maybe to that one person you always tell things to. The first words are already there. Blinking. Hey, I just felt like something is shifting. Hey, I think something is finally about to happen. Hey, you will not believe what I sense tonight. And there is a tightness in your chest that feels almost like joy. The thing you have been waiting for, you can feel it now. It is real. It is close. And the only way to make it more real, the only way to confirm what your spirit just whispered, feels like sending those words to someone who will say back, "Oh my goodness, that is incredible. I am so happy for you." Your thumb hovers over the send button, and a candle somewhere just beyond your awareness has just been lit inside a glass jar. The flame is small. It is yours. The jar is also yours, but the lid is in your hand, and you have not yet decided whether to put it on. If your thumb hits send, the wind is going to come in. It always does. I want you to hear me when I say this. The fact that you almost sent that message tonight is not weakness. It is not stupidity. It is not lack of faith. It is a pattern. And the pattern was installed in you long before you were old enough to refuse it. The Father has watched you carry this pattern for years, and tonight He is breaking it. But first He is asking me to name it for you out loud, because you cannot break what you cannot see. Let me name it. You have remembered more than once the day you told a friend about a relationship that was forming and watched it dissolve within 2 weeks. You did not connect the two. You blamed the timing. You blamed the person. You blamed yourself in some quiet inner way. But the silence that followed your telling, the way the connection cooled exactly 7 days later, you have remembered that, and you have wondered. You have remembered the opportunity that almost opened, the interview that went so well, the deal that was about to close, the door that was right there in your hand, and then somewhere in the excitement, you announced it to one person too soon. And the next morning, the call did not come. The email shifted tone. The door eased itself shut. You told yourself that is just how these things go, but somewhere deeper, you knew. You have remembered the dream you typed into a long voice note and sent off, and how the dream got smaller in the days afterward. The fire in it dimmed, the clarity blurred. You told yourself you must have been imagining the strength of it in the first place. You were not. The dream was real. The wind got in. You have remembered the moments where your spirit went still and quiet and asked you, "Do not say this yet," and you overrode it. You spoke anyway because not telling felt like denying yourself, and deep down you wanted the validation more than you wanted the protection. You have remembered that override, and you have lived with the consequence. And you have remembered the dreams, The kind where someone breaks into a house you thought was locked. The kind where something precious gets lifted out of an open drawer. The kind where you arrive somewhere and the thing you came for is already gone. Those dreams have visited you more than once, and you have not known what they were trying to tell you. They were trying to tell you that the door has been open. Before we go any further, I need you to hear what is coming in the rest of this hour. Because if you walk away early, you will walk away with the wound named but not healed. In the next 30 minutes, I am going to show you the diagnosis from 3 angles: behavioral, emotional, and spiritual, so you can finally see why this pattern has held you for so long. I am going to take you back to the day this hunger to share was installed in you around age 6 or 7, and show you exactly how it was put there. I am going to teach you the Greek word that Mary, the mother of the largest promise ever spoken to a human being, used to hold what she was given, and what that word actually means in practice. I am going to walk you through a 4-door framework you can begin tonight with specific measurements so this does not stay theory. And I am going to tell you about 3 honored paths the Father has already placed in this hour to support what He is asking of you. Stay until the seal at the end. The whole thing is the medicine. Here is the first reframe, and then I am going to deepen this further than you expect. What has been happening to you is not a character flaw. It is not a failure of discipline. It is a frequency that was supposed to be guarded, and no one ever taught you how to guard it. The tongue is the last gate the wind can still reach, and yours has been left unguarded since you were small. That is not your fault. But starting tonight, it becomes your responsibility, and the Father is going to give you everything you need to carry that responsibility. Well, there is something deeper underneath this pattern. There is a reason your tongue moves before your spirit signs off on the move. There is a reason that needing someone else to confirm the thing you already know feels almost unbearable. The pattern has a root, and the root has a date, and that date is older than most of your memories. And I hear the Father saying this quietly into the room you are sitting in right now. The silence I am asking for is not the silence of shame. It is the silence of a chamber I am building, and the chamber is for you. Stay with me here. It is no accident that you are hearing this call on this specific date. On this Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, a cosmic alignment has occurred to bring this frequency to your awareness. You were awakened in the hour of God, that sacred space between 3 and 5 in the morning, not because of random restlessness, but because your spirit was being summoned to a direct audience. If you noticed a high-pitched ringing in your ears during those dark hours, it was the sound of download codes loading into your consciousness, bypassing the logic of your conscious mind. The algorithm you are interacting with is not just lines of code. It is a vibrational sieve designed to separate the casual seeker from the resonant soul. It only allowed your spirit to pass through because your frequency has begun to stabilize at the requisite level for what is coming. The pressure you have felt on your shoulders for the last several days was not stress. It was the sacred weight of preparation. You were chosen for this specific intersection of time and truth. This is not a collective message. This is your personal incoming call, and you must pick up. The chamber the Father is building has a particular shape, and to walk into it, you have to first see how the door in your face was put there, but more importantly, why the walls of your life have seemed to move outward until you were left standing in a great silence. This is the architecture of the wilderness, a divine blueprint that feels like abandonment to the uninitiated, but is actually a surgical intervention of the highest order. You have looked at the empty seats at your table and the unanswered texts in your phone as evidence of a life gone wrong. But I am here to tell you that every exit was a mercy. The Father has watched you pour your sacred wine into cracked vessels for too long, watching as your light was dimmed by those who could only see you as a resource rather than a revelation. This season of distance, this period of feeling surgically removed from the social fabric you once knew, was not a mistake of the heavens. It was a necessary quarantine. You were being prepared for a weight of glory that the people of your past were never engineered to withstand. Had they stayed, their lack of capacity would have become your prison. They would have tried to measure your ocean with their thimbles, and when you did not fit, they would have called you broken rather than boundless. The emptiness you feel is not a void. It is the cleared ground required for the massive foundation of your next assignment. There are watchers, chosen one, who remain in the periphery of your awareness even now. You feel them sometimes, a coldness on the back of your neck, or a sudden memory of a face that has not seen yours in years. These are the ones from the old cycle who secretly monitor your progress from the shadows, waiting for the moment you finally collapse so they can feel justified in their own stagnancy. They are waiting for your failure to validate their choice to remain small. They monitor your social media. They ask mutual acquaintances about your well-being, but they do so with a spirit of predatory curiosity rather than love. Their exit was not just for your peace, it was for your protection. The Father saw that their spirit was never built to carry your weight, and had they remained, the very formation He is assembling tonight would have been dismantled by their jealousy before it could ever become flesh. You must understand that in the kingdom of the Spirit, some people are spectators, and some are participants, but very few are anchors. When the Father removed the spectators, He was not making you lonely, He was making you secure. He was clearing the field so that the parasites of the matrix, those entities that feed on the flickering light of an unformed dream, would have nothing to latch onto. You were placed in a vacuum of silence not to be forgotten, but to be hardened. A vacuum is the only place where certain divine alloys can be forged without contamination. In the old world, you were soft, porous, and far too accessible to those who sought to harvest your energy without ever honoring your source. You were a lighthouse that let anyone in to sleep on the floor and blow out the candles. Tonight, the Father is declaring that the season of being an open house is over. This financial emptiness and social betrayal you have been mourning was actually the universe clearing the parasites out of your field so that your vibrational signature could finally match the resource that is already on its way. You were not left behind. You were being tempered in a vacuum so your light would not be consumed by those who have no intention of growing their own. This hardening is not a loss of heart. It is the acquisition of a holy boundary. You are being reconstructed from the inside out, your DNA being prepared to hold a frequency that would shatter the nervous system of anyone still tethered to the old reality. The watchers will continue to watch, but they will soon realize they are staring at a screen that has gone dark. They can no longer see you because you have moved into a dimension of light that their optics cannot register. You are being hidden in the secret place of the Most High, and in that hiddenness, your next move is reaching its final stage of assembly. Do not reach for the people who left. Do not try to explain your silence to those who inhabit the noise. The wilderness is not where you die. It is where the version of you that could be killed is finally replaced by the version of you that is eternal. This isolation is the architecture of your throne, and only those with the frequency of the new era will be allowed to cross the threshold once the doors finally open. The mechanics of what is happening to you right now are far beyond the reach of human psychology or the tired mantras of the old world. What you are undergoing is a profound DNA reprogramming that is resetting your very capacity to hold the divine. This quantum leap is not a slow walk toward a distant horizon, but a sudden, violent displacement from the frequency of not enough into the frequency of it is done. You are currently in the process of an entry into the fifth dimension, a state of being where the laws of cause and effect, as you once understood them, no longer apply because your spirit is no longer tethered to the dense, slow-moving vibrations of survival. You have spent years trying to logic your way into your destiny, attempting to build a ladder out of your efforts and your prayers. But the Father is showing you tonight that the ladder is obsolete in a world where you are meant to fly. This shift is not occurring because you finally worked hard enough or because you said the right combination of words. It is occurring because of a kairos condition, a sacred timing where your internal vibrational signature has finally come into a perfect, one-to-one match with the resource that was reserved for you before the foundations of the world were laid. You must understand that the universe does not respond to your need. It responds to your resonance. And by finally stepping into the holy silence of the chamber, you have allowed your frequency to stabilize long enough for the match to be recognized by the gates of the kingdom. This is why the struggle has felt so heavy in the lead up to this moment, as the old version of your DNA, the part that was coded for scarcity, for being overlooked, and for perpetual waiting, had to be incinerated to make room for the new architecture of abundance. Tonight, the heavens are recording the total erasure of karmic debt, a divine amnesty that reaches back through your bloodline and clears away every loop of suffering and every inherited pattern of almost that has plagued your ancestors for generations. You are not just being blessed, you are being legally cleared in the courts of the Spirit. And with that clearance comes an authority that you have never known how to wield before now. You will see gates being torn from their hinges in the coming days, not merely opened by a key or eased open by negotiation, but removed entirely so that the path between your current reality and your ultimate purpose is an open thoroughfare that no parasite can obstruct. This move is not a trickle. It is like a river entering a dry riverbed that has waited decades for the sound of rushing water, filling every crack, quenching every parched memory, and reanimating the dead things that you had long ago given up for lost. You have lived in the dry season for so long that you have forgotten the sound of a torrent, but the mechanics of the shift dictate that the volume of the arrival must be proportional to the depth of the preparation. This is why your logic is failing you right now, because logic cannot calculate the speed of a quantum leap or the weight of a fifth-dimensional promise. It can only measure the past, and you are no longer there. Your current state is one of absolute integration, where the show your work mentality of your childhood is being replaced by the I am consciousness of your maturity. Do not try to analyze the flow, simply be the riverbed. The pressure you feel in your chest is the expansion of your spiritual lungs as they take in the atmosphere of a higher reality. And the dizziness you occasionally sense is the recalibration of your inner compass to a true north that is no longer dictated by the magnetic pull of your trauma. You are entering the season of the unforced, where the resource finds you because you have stopped running toward it and have instead become the destination it was searching for. This is the geometry of the new covenant, a sacred alignment where the move is already finished in the spirit and is now simply condensing into the physical world, cell by cell, dollar by dollar, and door by door. The law of silence is not a suggestion given to the timid. It is the primary commandment of the new frequency, a strict boundary that acts as the only seal capable of containing the immense pressure of the glory currently forming within your spirit. You must understand that the most dangerous moment for a divine seed is not when it is buried in the dark, but the exact moment it begins to crack the surface. For that is when its vulnerability is highest, and its scent is most distinct to the scavengers of the old world. You are currently standing at that threshold, and the Father is issuing a decree that you must not speak of this new force, this incoming resource, or the shifting of your internal tides to anyone from the old cycle, no matter how close they may have seemed in your season of wandering. Even those you consider family, those you have shared your bread with, or those who have been your confidants in the wilderness, are now a potential threat to the containment of this power. Their spirits are still tethered to the logic of the third dimension, and the moment you attempt to explain the unexplainable to them, you create a puncture in your sacred field. The energy you use to describe the miracle is energy that was intended to fuel the manifestation of the miracle itself. Every word spoken too soon is a leak, a drop of the sacred oil wasted on soil that was never prepared to receive it. You have spent your whole life trying to be understood, but in this hour, your need to be understood is a liability. Protection requires a holy hiddenness, a sanctuary of the mind where the only inhabitants are you and the source that is currently pouring the foundations of your future. There is a new threat rising as your light intensifies. For as your vibrational signature shifts, the environment you once called home will begin to react with a predatory instinct. The energy vampires and matrix parasites who have historically fed on your empathy and your accessibility can sense the hum of your new field, even if they cannot see the change with their physical eyes. They will notice that the old buttons they used to press no longer trigger your anxiety, and that the emotional hooks they once threw into your spirit are no longer finding a purchase. In response, they will attempt to probe your field with sudden crises, unexpected dramas, or feigned concern, all designed to drag you back into the low-frequency loops of the old reality. They will ask probing questions disguised as support, trying to get you to reveal the source of your newfound stillness so they can find a way to contaminate it. They do not want you to fail as much as they want you to stay recognizable, for your transformation is a mirror that reveals their own stagnancy. You must recognize these probes for what they are, desperate attempts by the old cycle to reestablish its grip on your DNA. When they reach out, let your response be a polite, impenetrable silence. You are under no obligation to provide a map of your progress to those who only wish to see you lost. Your field must remain a closed circuit, a sacred circle of protection where no external gaze is allowed to disrupt the alchemy of your becoming. The verdict for this hour is final. Your results will be your only answer. You no longer need words to defend yourself, nor do you need arguments to justify the distance you have placed between your spirit and the noise of the world. In the past, you exhausted your spirit trying to convince others of your worth or explaining the visions that God gave to you in private. But that era of justification ended the moment you entered this chamber. A lion does not explain its strength to the grass, and a river does not apologize for its direction. They simply are. You are moving into a state of being so profound that the physical evidence of your shift will eventually become undeniable. And it is that evidence, not your explanations, that will silence the mockers and the watchers. When the wealth arrives, when the health restores, when the peace becomes a visible radiance on your face, the world will have its answer. And by then, you will be so far removed from the need for their approval that their realization will not even move your needle. Hold the holy silence as if your life depends on it, because the life you are building actually does. Let the secret move reach its full maturity in the dark, protected by the law of silence, until it is strong enough to stand in the light without needing a single word from your tongue to sustain it. You are the keeper of the seal, and your silence is the highest form of spiritual warfare you can currently engage in. Chosen. The atmosphere around you has shifted, and the air in the room where you sit has become dense with the weight of a finality you have waited a lifetime to feel. The decree has been written in the courts of the Spirit, and the seal is being pressed into the wax of your physical reality, even as these words land. Your orphanhood is over. For years you have walked with the spirit of a nomad, wandering the perimeter of your own inheritance and looking through the windows of other people's lives, wondering when the Father would remember your name or when the universe would finally pay the debt it owed to your soul. You have felt like an outlier, a spiritual exile without a home base, surviving on the thin scraps of validation you could scavenge from those who never truly saw the magnitude of what you were carrying. But tonight, that frequency of lack, that deep-seated identity of the abandoned child, is being systematically dismantled at the root. You are no longer a child of the wilderness begging for a seat at a table that was never built for you. You are being escorted into the center of the palace you were born to govern. To be under protection means that the days of you defending your own perimeter are finished. The Father has stationed guardians at the four corners of your life, and their instructions are absolute. Nothing that carries the vibration of the old cycle, no parasite of the matrix, and no frequency of the old wounding is permitted to touch the hem of your garment. You are moving into a state of divine immunity where the arrows of the old reality simply lose their velocity before they even reach your field. The heavy lifting is done. The striving is over. You are under the shadow of the Almighty, not as a visitor, but as an inhabitant who has finally come home to the silence. This transition from seeking to being is the most profound shift a chosen soul can experience, for it marks the end of the search and the beginning of the embodiment. You have spent so much energy looking for the path, looking for the sign, and looking for the next instruction, but the Father is telling you tonight that the search was merely the scaffolding for the structure that has now been completed. You no longer need to hunt for your destiny because you have become the gravity that pulls your destiny toward you. The resource you have been chasing is now chasing you. The doors you used to knock on have been removed from their hinges. You are moving in a frequency where your mere presence recalibrates the rooms you walk into, and you no longer have to speak a single word to justify your space. This is the maturity of the chosen. To know that you are protected not because of what you do, but because of whose you are. Every loss you endured in the previous season was a payment toward the peace you are now stepping into. Every betrayal was a lesson in the law of silence. Every moment of financial emptiness was a vacuum created so that the wealth of the kingdom could rush in without being contaminated by the old greed. You are under a canopy of grace that the world cannot see and the matrix cannot hack. Your orphanhood was a temporary trial. Your sonship and daughtership are eternal. The Father is not just watching over you, He is living through you. And as you hold this holy silence, the power of that union is becoming a physical force that will move mountains on your behalf without you ever having to lift a finger. To anchor this shift into the matter of the earth, I want you to perform a simple act of seal. Below this video, in the space provided for the collective, I want you to type the word Simbalo or the phrase, "The chamber is closed." This is not for the algorithm. It is for your own nervous system to witness the finality of your choice. It is a physical anchor that tells the spirit world and the material world that the leak has been plugged and the covenant has been accepted. By typing this, you are declaring to the watchers and the parasites that your field is no longer open for harvest. You are announcing to the Father that you have accepted the protection and that you are ready to be the vessel for the promise that is becoming flesh. This comment is your seal, your signature on the decree of your own liberation. As you do this, feel the last of the orphan frequency leaving your body, falling away like a garment that has grown too small for the giant you have become. You are no longer searching for crumbs, you are the steward of the feast. You are no longer looking for the light, you are the source of the radiance. The next 30 days will be a testament to this choice. You will watch as the world tries to find the old you and fails. You will watch as the resource arrives in silence. You will watch as the path clears itself before your feet. Your only job is to remain in the chamber, to keep the lid on the jar, and to trust the integration that is happening in the deep. The hour of your manifestation is here, and the move is already done in the realms that matter. You have crossed the threshold from the many to the few, and from the few to the one. The silence you hold tonight is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal, and the peace you feel is the proof of your victory. Go into the rest of this night knowing that you are covered, that you are hidden, and that you are beloved beyond the capacity of language to describe. The Father is pleased with your silence. The ancestors are shouting in the spirit because the cycle is finally broken. The gates are gone, the river is full, The chamber is secure. You are the chosen soul, the carrier of the manifest promise, and the seal of the living God is upon your forehead and your tongue. You have finished the work of the seeker. You have entered the rest of the finders. There is nothing left to explain and nothing left to prove. The unfolding will do the talking from here on out. You no longer search for the path. You are the path.